Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Waller's Wallet, and in this video, we're going to look at 10 great ways that you can use your membership reward points. So let's start off with using Virgin Atlantic miles to fly to Europe on Delta. And one frustrating thing about Delta Sky Miles is the fact they no longer have an award chart. They're a dynamic currency, which means you're not going to get oversized value for your points, especially in business class. But that's alright, because you can actually fly to Europe in Delta One suites for only 50,000 Virgin Atlantic miles and $5.60. And that same flight using Sky Miles could cost you hundreds of thousands of Delta miles. Now let's take a look at flying from the US to Africa or even the Middle East using Etihad miles to fly on Royal Air Maroc. Now if you don't know anything about Etihad miles, you should probably start looking at them, because this is not the only time you're going to see Etihad miles on this list. But using your Etihad miles to fly on Royal Air Maroc, you can travel to Africa and even the Middle East in business class for only 44,000 miles one way. And that's because the award chart for Royal Air Maroc using your Etihad miles is a distance-based award chart. And any flights over 2,000 miles, the price does not increase, which is absolutely amazing. And you can see here that Royal Air Maroc has a lot of different options. I mean, you can fly down to Nairobi and you can even stay at the Giraffe Sanctuary, which is definitely on my bucket list. And I think it's pretty hard to beat flying that long of a distance for only 44,000 miles in business class. Now we're going to go ahead and stick with Etihad miles, and this time we're going to be using our Etihad miles to fly on American Airlines. Now if you're someone who has access to American airline flights, then you should definitely be paying attention. And that's because you can use Etihad miles to fly on American Airlines based on the old American Airlines award chart, which can give us some amazing value. Not only can you fly to other parts of the world at a pretty favorable pricing, but you can also fly transcontinental in business or even first class for only 25 Etihad miles one way. And since many of us do have access to American Airlines, who wouldn't want to save some miles in the process, right? Next, we're going to take a look at using LifeMiles to fly to Europe. Now, LifeMiles has their fair share of issues with their websites, but LifeMiles has a lot of great uses, especially if you dig into the program. And one solid option is you can fly from the US to Europe in business class for only 63,000 miles one way. And to put that into perspective, United would charge you 70,000 miles for a one-way on a partner airline. Plus, Avianca does not pass on fuel surcharges, so this is a solid way to fly across the Atlantic Ocean in comfort. Next, we're going to take a look at booking ANA's first class cabin using your Virgin Atlantic miles. And here we see Virgin Atlantic pop back up on this list. And that's because you can get some fantastic value flying ANA using your Virgin Atlantic miles. And this option might be one of the best ways to fly to Asia, because you can fly round trip in first class on ANA for only 110,000 miles from the West Coast and 120,000 miles round trip from the East Coast. Or if you wanted to fly business class and save yourself some miles, it would only cost you 90,000 Virgin Atlantic miles from the West Coast or 95,000 miles round trip from the East Coast. And either option you choose is going to give you solid value for your points and fly one of the best airlines in the world. Next up, we're going to look at ANA's around the world tickets. Now I actually talked about this option before when I did my Around the World mini series. And ANA provides a very solid option for your Around the World ticket. And that's because you can have up to 8 stopovers on your Around the World ticket, which is a lot of places to cross off your bucket list. And the sweet spot here is when you fly between 20,001 miles to 22,000 miles, you can fly that completely in business class for only 125,000 ANA miles. Now you do want to keep in mind ANA will pass on fuel surcharges to you, but even with those, this is one of the best around the world ticket options on the market. Plus, when you think about it, you can fly around the world in business class for the price of a round-trip ticket on ANA's first class using Virgin Atlantic miles, and I think that is pretty amazing. Now let's take a look at Aeroplan's domestic stopover. And if you're looking to visit multiple cities in the US, then Aeroplan should definitely be towards the top of your list. And with Aeroplan, you can book a domestic round-trip ticket with a stopover for only 25,000 miles in economy class or 50,000 miles in business class. That means you can see 2 cities for the price of what it would just cost for a round-trip ticket, and I think that's pretty awesome. That gives some great value for your points because not many programs allow you to have a domestic stopover. Now let's talk about Singapore Airlines to Hawaii. Now Hawaii is on many people's bucket list, and it's actually a lot easier to use your points to fly to Hawaii than most people think. And with Singapore KrisFlyer miles, it only costs 17,500 miles one way in economy class to fly from the US to Hawaii on United Metal. Now United actually charges you 22,500 miles for the same exact flight. Well, I mean they do now, but we'll see what happens when they go dynamic here in November. So to see Hawaii for only 35,000 miles round trip is actually a pretty great value for your points. Now let's talk about flying business class to Madrid on Iberia Airlines. And this one's actually more for select cities, but if you live in Boston, New York, or Chicago, then you can fly round trip in Iberia business class for only 68,000 miles round trip. And I think it is pretty easy to say that flying business class for only 34,000 miles each way is a pretty great value. The taxes are gonna be a couple $100s, but this really isn't bad considering this ticket could cost you over $4,000 if you were to pay cash for this ticket. And lastly, let's look at Aeromexico's around the world ticket option. Now during my mini-series, I considered this probably the best option when it came to around the world ticket options. And I think it is really hard to argue with the value you can receive here. Because for just 140,000 membership reward points, you can fly coach, or for 220,000 membership reward points, you can fly in business class on Aeromexico's around the world ticket option, which gives you up to 15 stopovers. That's like paying 9,333 points per flight in coach class, or 14,666 points per flight in business class, which is an amazing value for your points. So these were 10 ways that you could really extract some great value from your membership reward points. But really, there are so many more ways outside of these 10 examples that you can get amazing value for these points. The trick to getting great value from your membership reward points is to learn some of these programs and to be flexible. Because you can see how much value membership reward points can offer you in these 10 examples. So tell me, what are some of the best ways you've redeemed your membership reward points? Hey, if you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up, or if you know somebody who might benefit from this video, feel free to share it with them. And if you want to help support the channel, a simple way is to use the links on our website or in the descriptions below. And if you like learning about credit cards, points, miles, cashback, or just flat out traveling for less, consider the subscribe button down below. And until next time, safe travels and take care.